in this room, okay? So I need you to be able to hear me through the whole presentation. If you can't hear me in the back, put up a hand. Other than Alistair. You can get these little hearing aids. Anyway, we begin this talk. First of all, we have a message for you. It's critical that you get that message through, okay? If you want me to start using the mic, fantastic, and away we go. The single most important slide that we have, can everybody see that, is that slide. We're going to try to turn off the overheads maybe. Better. That is the most important slide in the whole stack, okay? Do not be ashamed if you have had a crime committed against you. And make no mistake, it is a crime, okay? You are not a sucker, a mark, or a patsy. You are a victim, okay? So there is no shame. You know, you hear people saying, oh, they fell for that old one. I've had talks where people didn't come to the talk because they were afraid they would look stupid if someone found out they had been swindled already. It is a crime. If you go out in the parking lot, some guy pokes a knife into your belly and wants your wallet. So you give him your wallet, you cancel the cards, you lost 50 bucks in cash, or in my case, probably 10. Okay? But nevertheless, the whole point is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to report a crime has been committed against me. This is no less a crime. Okay? So if everybody understands that, we can go to slide number 2. Slide number 2, they started a program, it's sort of a general principle, how you can approach a swindle, a con, a scam, if you think you're being scammed. And these days, people understand if they aren't trying to scam you, they will understand if you're suspicious or reluctant and that sort of thing. And it's a program that was brought out in Great Britain, actually, and that is to stop. A scammer wants to hurry you. He wants to rush. He wants the check not to clear the bank, his check to you, not to clear the bank before he gets the money from you and you recognize it as swindle. He's going to try to hurry it up. He's going to pressure you. He's, you know, come on, we got to move. This deal's only good for 24 hours or something like that. Stop. You have no reason to hurry. It's your money or your property or whatever. The point is, it is your right to stop, slow it down, think about it. If you're confused, talk to your friends. You've got 70 of them right here. Talk to your friends. Talk to the police. Phone us up. We aren't always out in the highway giving out tickets, okay? Challenge the guy that's trying to swindle you. If he says, oh, we got your nephew, say, what's his middle name? Does he know what my dog's name was? Especially if you don't have a dog. And then, of course, finally, you're going to protect. Contact the authorities. If these swindlers, they can get pretty nasty sometimes, particularly if the swindle isn't going their way. They can start to threaten you. They'll try to pressure you. They'll threaten to come around to your house and beat you up, burn your house down, go after members of your family. Contact the authorities, the police, the bank, maybe. If they're trying to swindle you through your card, and we'll get into that, then contact the bank, because they want you to be a happy customer. Okay, so if somebody's going to swindle you in their name, they'd like a slice of that, please. Okay, so I'm going to go through 4.5 typical frauds. And what we're really looking at here is just exactly the level they will go to, the techniques they use, and the enormous width of techniques they will use to try to swindle you. This is a very popular one. It's called the romance fraud. And the romance fraud, see, if they go to a dating site and they set up a date with you, they get to talk to you, they already know you want company. You want somebody to love you. You want someone, you want a friend, you want companionship. They don't even have to do the legwork to figure out if that's what you want because you're on a dating site. So, they will use that. They're going to develop a relationship with you. This could take, now they're going to invest a little bit of time because they're figuring they're going to get quite the payoff sometimes. So they're going to invest a little bit of time on it. They're going to develop a relationship with you. Hi, how are you? My name is such and such. They're going to gain your trust. Might take a couple of weeks, okay? But after a couple of weeks, the requests for money will start happening. I'm in real trouble. I need your money. Just a few hundred, just a few thousand. And it goes on and on. So, red flags. It's too good to be true. Their profiles. Everybody know what I mean by profile? If I use a term and you don't understand what it means, then you don't understand what I'm saying. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, I have failed to get the message across. So a profile, I'm going to swindle you guys. I set up my profile. Who am I going to go after? I'm going to go after, say, about a 55-year-old, 50 to 70 age male. What profile am I going to use? I'm going to scan around, find something of an attractive female, maybe 35, something like that. Something where you're going to look and go, wow, I really lucked out. Okay, I'm going to create that fake profile, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a little too good to be true. If you start to feel that, that's one of the red flags. They will claim to live close by, but for some reason they can never actually meet you. Because you got to admit, if you think I'm a 40-year-old female, boy, you're in for a disappointment. But they're going to be working overseas. Can anybody say Petawawa? Okay, so they're in Germany, or they're working overseas, or they're in Latvia, or something like that. They will also want to get you off the romance page. They want to make it so that it's a private communication. They want to keep it quiet because they don't want anybody else to recognize what it really is. And of course, you're going to want to keep it quiet. They're going to want you to keep it quiet too, so don't tell your friends, things like that. I have one gentleman who honestly believes, and he believes it because he was in one of my talks, his girlfriend is Taylor Swift. Wow, how about that? So, never send an intimate photo of yourself, okay? That's blackmail material. If you wouldn't send it to your kids, your parents, or your friends, don't send it to this person, okay? Ask specific questions, like the dog question. Never send money. Just don't, okay? Even if you want to send money, it's too risky, okay? And then finally, of course, you're going to be really suspicious if they keep canceling plans, they can't do it, it costs too much, and that sort of thing. They're going to keep trying to set you up. Now, that's the romance fraud. The romance fraud can be used in conjunction with others, but the key is a swindler has no ethics, he's ruthless, they have no mercy whatsoever. And if they are going to drain your entire life savings, so you will be putting in an application at Tim Hortons for the window, they don't care. It's all in a day's work. Actually, it's all in about a morning's work, because they'll probably have several people on the hook. Now, the emergency fraud. This one's actually pretty good, because they're going to phone, and they might pretend to be a loved one, but everybody says, oh, with AI, they can imitate voices and things like that. If somebody phoned me up and said he was his nephew, I'd have to take his word for it, because I don't know what his voice sounds like. But even so, I don't have to pretend to be your nephew. I can pretend to be the officer that has him under arrest. And I'm about to put him in the common cells. You know, the one where this great big guy over in the corner really kind of likes the look of you? That one. Okay? They're going to ask you to send money right away to bail him out. Okay, to get him out of this predicament. You're touched, because if this is your nephew, he was so trusting. He needed to contact someone he knew he could depend on, he knew he could trust, and he was afraid to contact his parents, so he contacted you. You're touched. That means the wallet's going to open. And that's what they're doing. They want you to feel trusted. As I say, no ethics, no mercy. And finally, they will ask for money, and it will be serious coin. We are talking $1,500, $2,000, something like that. They may keep coming back, too. So, red flag. How do you tell this is real trouble? Well, they're going to request the money in terms of a gift card. You know, like the Mexican police have your nephew in jail, and they want you to go down and get a gift card for iTunes and give them the money. Huh. They're going to pressure you to send money, because they're going to throw them in the slammer immediately or very soon if you don't get the money down there. So hurry, rush. You're under pressure. They're going to make you feel good and rushed, and they're going to do whatever they have to just rattle you a little bit. And then finally, of course, they're going to ask you to keep it secret. This is starting to look like the other scam. Keep it secret, isolate it. I need the money right away, that sort of thing. So slow things down. You're going to see that a lot. Slow it down. Nobody needs the money within the next 15 minutes. Okay? Ask questions only your loved one would know. The dog question, again. Resist sharing identifying details. I've had people giving out their social insurance number. Confirm the whereabouts of the family or friend. If it is your nephew, give your brother a call and say, where's Chris? 9 times out of 10, he'll be sleeping upstairs. Okay? And finally, never provide any personal or financial information over the phone. That's just not a good idea, and that's all there is to it. Here, I got a little malfunction there. So, Sierra, now this one is special to my heart. Okay? When I come up and see that letter in my mailbox, okay, so already they got me off balance. Okay? They're going to phone and they're going to claim to be a CRA employee. Or they may even print a whole bunch of these little manila envelopes with Canada Revenue Agency on them. Perfect. There's certainly plenty around. And then they're going to claim that you have an unpaid balance. There's a problem with your income tax. Something like that. Now, you're really rattled at this point. Okay? This could be several $1,000s. You just want it to go away. So, you might have a compromised social insurance number. So they're going to want some personal information. The Canada Revenue Agency already has your personal information. They get a copy of it every year. Okay? So, no matter what, even if they threaten to arrest you, slow it down. Think about it. And if they do threaten to arrest you, what they'll do is they'll say, well, we're going to send the RCMP after you with a federal warrant. And the reason they're going to do that is because then, of course, the OPP wouldn't know anything about it. So you couldn't phone the OPP. Well, guess what? We talk to the RCMP. We communicate with other police forces. We will know about it. So call the police. If you're in doubt, call the police. So the caller might use threatening language. CRA doesn't use threatening language. They want to be square with you. You owe them, they owe you. Fine, they want to square it up. They're doing a business, they're doing a job. And that's all they're doing. They do not have to use aggressive language. They do not have to threaten you or threaten to deport you. Are they going to deport me back to Toronto where I was born? And of course, they're going to pressure you to make the payment in a prepaid card or cryptocurrency or the notorious and infamous Bitcoin. I thought to myself, nobody is going to fall for that one. Well, you guys can keep it a secret. Not me. But my son-in-law comes barreling out of the house one day. My daughter's just driving in, and he says, I've got to do something right away. Jumps into his car, he's gone. An hour later, he comes back home, and he says, wow, that was close. I owed $4,000 in back taxes. But they wanted him to pay in $500 gift cards. So he went and he purchased 8 gift cards. He's not dumb. He's scared because these guys found just the right switch, just the right thing to poke to make him think he was going to lose his business, he was going to go to jail, there was going to be a black mark on his record, they were going to take him to the cleaners unless he paid now. So at that point, he did whatever was necessary to make that problem go away. And in this particular case, go get the gift cards. Now, if you go into Walmart in Pembroke, if you go into Canadian Tire in Pembroke, you go into Canadian Tire in Deep River, and I know other stores are doing it too, if you buy a bunch of gift cards, somebody, say my age, comes through and he's buying $2,000 in gift cards, well, they want to have you as a happy customer. They will sell you whatever you want, but you'll be talking to the manager. They will do anything they can to stall you. They'll bring the manager down, and he will very gently say, are you sure? Because they are trying to protect you. They want happy customers. Okay? So there's an effort there to try to protect you. And, of course, in this case, when anybody phones you up, not just CRA, never press 1 to speak to an agent. That's sort of like elevating it from the computer call to the next level. Now you're talking to a live human. And the live human, don't kid yourself, that live human is a professional swindler. You are talking to a con man or woman. So you want to be very careful about that, even if you sense it is a swindle. You don't want to tickle the tail of a tiger too much. Okay, just because they're liable to be able to sell you back to the idea that maybe you really do owe this money. And of course, you never click on an unsolicited link. Everybody knows what I mean by a link? You get an email, and all the text is black, and there's like a little web address on it, and it's blue or red or something like that. That's a link. And if you just go up and click that thing, then it'll take you to that page. Well, guess what? That link can take you anywhere, including a page that is not a legal page with nice people. It's going to be bad news. It'll be a swindler's page, but it'll be a good job sometimes. And of course, you can locate a CRA office. There's a CRA office in Pembroke. If there's a problem with your Canada Revenue Agency, your tax return, anything like that, then you can contact CRA directly in Pembroke. That number you can be sure of, because if you want, you can walk down, knock on their door, and you can talk to a CRA agent, and they can help you. Okay? So that's the key. CRA already has your personal information. CRA will never ask for funds in Bitcoin or something like that, and they will never threaten or coerce or pressure you in any way, particularly with a time thing. So, now, there's another one, and I promise it's the last one. Bank investor fraud, the investigator, the offender calls up and he says he's from Scotiabank. That's my bank. He's from Scotiabank, and they're doing an investigation because one of the tellers might be skimming cash. So they are going to ask you to go in, get that teller. They'll be waiting outside. You go in, get that teller, and say, I'd like to make a withdrawal, $4,000. I'd like to clean out my account, $10,000, whatever. I want it in cash. Teller says, sure. She gets out the money, and then she rattles the keys a little bit, she or he, puts it all together, sticks it into an envelope. Maybe you even provided the envelope. Glue it shut. There you go, sir. Thank you very much. And then you walk out the bank, and the gentleman that's out there that you're helping, because you're community-minded, you're community-spirited. So the gentleman is waiting out there. He might even be wearing a suit. He's going to take the envelope from you, and he's going to say, thank you so much for helping. This is evidence. And he'll put the evidence carefully in his car, and he'll get in his car and drive away. Slick. And I thought, I wasn't paying attention to slide number 1, and I thought, no one, no way. Financial institutions never going to ask for help. They don't want you to know that they have a problem inside the institution. They want you to think they are bulletproof. They have their own investigative team. They are very good at this sort of thing, and they're very quick because they don't want anybody to think they have a problem handling money at the bank. They may call you up first thing in the morning before you've had your coffee, before you've been here and had at least several cups of coffee. They're going to ask maybe for remote access to your device. Maybe they're going to get at your account through your device. And then finally, of course, secrecy. Don't tell anybody what you're doing, because of course this is a special investigation. There's the reason for the secrecy, but they don't want anyone else to know, because someone may have been attending this talk and they'll recognize it. Now, I thought to myself, that's kind of an old hat one. I don't think anybody would actually fall for that one, which of course implies that, they fell for it. Well, as a matter of fact, that gentleman did. This was in the paper the week after I was going to pull that section out of the presentation. He got swindled. $13,000. Now, how many of you can afford to just drop $13,000 in cash and it's gone? It is just gone. He's not a stupid man. He believed he was helping his community. He believed he was helping the bank catch a criminal. So, now spoofing, this is something we see a lot because everybody says, wow, when I get a phone call, I look at my little $2 a month option there and it tells me what the phone number is. And if I don't recognize that number, I'm not picking it up. Good. What if the number is from your exchange? Because when I phone you up, I can put any number I want on that display. I want you to pick it up, but I don't know who your friends are. So I'm going to find a number in, say, 732 exchange that isn't in use, so I can be sure that I don't get somebody else's number. And then I'm going to spoof that display so it says 613-732 something, 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 something. You're going to look and say, well, it's a local call. It must be somebody in town. Maybe the town wants to talk to you or something like that. In other words, I'm going to get you to pick it up simply because I knew what your exchange was. How did I know what your exchange was? That's the number I used when I called you up. So that is what spoofing is all about. And of course, the delayed disconnect doesn't happen as much anymore because a lot of people use these now full time. They use their cell phone all the time. If somebody, back in the good old days, okay, think back 20 years, and it still happens. You pick up the phone and you're on a landline and you're talking to somebody, okay? And they initiated the call, but then it turns out that Junior is watching TV and he's making an awful racket and stuff like that. So they take it on the extension. So they put the phone on the table and they go to the extension. And then you have a chat and you're finished, okay? And then the person who phoned you hangs up the extension and they forget to hang up the original phone. Well, the phone won't disconnect. It still thinks the phone call is in progress. Now with these, if you hit end, it'll break the connection from either end. But with landlines, in other words, wired phones, it doesn't break the connection. It just keeps on, keeps on. And what you'd have to do is after 5 minutes, you try to phone somebody else and you realize you can still hear Junior's TV. And you realize, darn. So what you're going to do is you're going to start whistling into the phone and shouting and saying, hang up the phone and stuff like that. In other words, they have to hang it up. Let's say I told you I am CRA and I'm using a landline and I know I got the number from the phone book, so I know a landline's going to pick it up, not one of these. Okay, so now we got landline to landline. I claim to be the CRA. And you say, oh no, you're not going to fool me. I went to a talk where the guy said somebody was going to imposter the CRA. They were going to try to sucker me in. So I don't believe you. And you're about to hang up and he says, I can prove it's me. I can prove we are the Canada Revenue Agency. And you say, how? And he says, hang up the phone, go to last year's tax form, get the CRA phone number off last year's tax form, okay? Dial that number, and it'll be me. And then he waits, and waits, and waits, and you go and you get the form. You dial the number, pick it up, dial the number, and guess what? He never hung up. It's him. But now you think that you have dialed a genuine number and it's off your tax form. So this for sure is the Canada Revenue Agency. Oh, I wonder how much it's going to cost. Okay? You don't get that as much because now either one end or the other is going to be a cell phone, something like that. The technology is a little better. We may pull that eventually. So overall, okay, and there are 1,000 different swindles, not just the 4 I've described here. Hang up on unknown incoming calls. You answer the phone and it's a computer. You answer the phone and it's somebody you don't know. You know, the number's right, but the person is wrong. And I give you permission to be as rude as you wish and use whatever language you want. Okay, perfect. If something seems suspicious, it is. Hang up. Don't click on unsolicited emails. We've already been through that. And keep your personal and private information personal and private. None of their business. You know, sure, CRA has your information. They already have it. So don't worry about that. Reporting. You can report to the local police. If you grab one of these, it actually has a number on the back for something called the CAFC, Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. Now, the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, you phone that number, it's an 800 number. And sometimes you may ring for a little while, you may get put on hold. Why is that? Because fraud is increasing at a rate of 130%. And that's no exaggeration, 130% per year. That means it's more than doubling every year. That's why you're getting more and more and more calls. And they're making you crazy. They're certainly making me crazy. You can call the Canada Anti-Fraud Centre. You might give up on that one, but you can certainly call local police if there's any reason to be frightened or anything like that. Now, don't call them up if it's the guy trying to, oh, your Visa card's in arrears. They got a wicked accent. It's obviously a computer. Okay? But if he starts to threaten you, if he starts to make you feel like you're in danger, you call the police. That's our job. Okay? 100%. You can also contact the financial institution. If it's Scotiabank looking to investigate something, we'll call up the manager of Scotiabank. He'll know what's going on in his branch. Take a walk down, do a little chat. Okay? And of course, if the fraud occurred online and the person picked you up, so to speak, on a website, dating site, the dating site wants to know about that. Okay, because they don't want a reputation for harboring criminals that are going to come and get you. That's not how they make money when they're doing it honestly. So, how many frauds are actually reported? If there are 20 people in this room that have been swindled, one of you will have reported it. And the other 19 will be so ashamed because they're a Patsy, they're a Mark, or something like that. They're so ashamed and they're so embarrassed, they just want to keep it in like a pressure cooker. You have been traumatized. And I know that's a word that's overused. Somebody has violated you, and probably the worst thing you can do is keep it bottled up inside because it's going to get worse. It'll just make you feel worse. You have been essentially attacked. Okay? Get help. And if you don't want to talk to your friends, talk to the police. They'll help you. 100%. And of course, the sort of three principles: stop, challenge, protect. It's a pretty good system, and it works. Now, this is the end of the formal Ontario Provincial Police presentation. However, I couldn't resist. I had to throw it in. Has anybody had one of these calls? So you press 1 to speak to an agent, but to report it, you have to press 2. They want you to press that button. That was a computer. And for someone like me, I mean, I have put at least 3 of Amazon's kids through university. If I order something that's $1,500, they say thank you. They don't phone up and say, we think there's something wrong. Okay? So that's a suspicious call. 2 weeks later, I got the same call, same voice, and it was my Visa card. You're going to get this. It's just constant now. You get I'm averaging 2 a week. Is that about right? Yeah, around 2 a week. Whew. So I figure, well, text is okay. And as a matter of fact, there's the profile. Oh, look at that. She's kind of pretty. Well, it's actually a profile of a lady by the name of Susan. I knew Susan. That's not her. But that's okay. That's okay. Because people sometimes put their dog up as their profile, or their nephew or their niece. I'd like to meet your niece, Susan. So, okay, I'm going to let that one slide. So, I get a call. Now, I haven't seen Susan in 5 years, but we used to work on the science fair together. So I know Susan. That's how she got my text address. All right, that's great. So she says, I say, well, I'm really glad to hear from you. How are you doing? And she said, glad to hear from you. I'm doing well. Thanks, I'm enjoying life, and I keep thanking God for his grace and blessings all the time. I have so much to be thankful for. That's not Susan. Not a chance. That is not Susan. Well, let's have a little fun. Let's see how long it takes for them to set the hook. Okay? Good to hear from you too. I was wondering if you heard anything about Christmas and New Year home grant program. Well, that's how long it took them to set the hook. One paragraph. What Christmas and New Year program? Please enlighten me. Well, now, don't be trying to read this. The Christmas and New Year home grant program are a form of financial assistance. Susan's an English teacher, which was issued out for those who needs help in paying bills, starting their own business, going to school, helping raise their children, older retired people for maintenance, and to increase the standard of living. Did we miss anything? No. Are you aware? No, I hadn't heard about that program. Is it provincial or federal? First question. Surely they'd know that. They ignored it. So, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Christmas or New Year, blah, blah, blah. They got $50,000 in cash delivered in a shoebox. $50,000. All I have to do to apply, because of course I want to know how to apply. I'd like a slice of that 50,000 bucks. So they want you to click that unsolicited address. Now, I've got it sort of fogged out, you see. It's sort of fogged out. Now, why do I have it fogged out? Because I was giving this presentation about a year ago, and I was on that one, and I see a guy in the back of the audience writing down that address just as fast as he could. I was getting ready to go back, start all over again. So I'm just to click on that, send her a message, and they'll send me $50,000 in cash. Wow. Sounds kind of good. Why are they giving away the money? They use it to assist people who needs help paying bills. So for the next 2 or 3 days, have you clicked it yet? Please click it. The grant's going to run out. You won't get it. You've got to click it now. You've got to click it right away. Keep going, keep going. No, I didn't. But there are people who believe it. Why? They're not stupid. It's because they want $50,000. And just on the remote chance that it might be true, but on that remote chance, sure, what harm is it in clicking that link? And I can tell you how the swindle works if you want to go another 15 minutes and get this lady mad at us. And again, local senior built, he was, this foolproof investment. He was going to double his legacy for his kids after he died. Here was going to be this fabulous gift for his kids. $800,000. $1,000. Now, to my way of thinking, that is his retirement savings. And it's gone. What are the chances of recovering after you've been swindled? If you're quick, okay? About 4%. In other words, a little less than 1 in 20. So 1 in 20 will admit it, and 1 in 20 will recover the money. That works out to about 0.04%. Those are not good odds. And that, unless you're a swindler, they're fabulous odds if you're a swindler, because that means that 99.996% of the time, you're going to get away with it. And you will. RBC notification. My account has had numerous sign-in attempts, and they've been blocked, but I have to hit that link, in order to talk to them about it. You remember I said my account was with Scotiabank? They didn't know that. So they're going to come after you. It's like baiting a hook. They put a banana on the hook. Didn't work. So they bait it with a piece of cheese. Didn't work. So they bait it with a worm. Bang, it works. So in other words, they're going to come at you with a bank fraud, and that doesn't work. They're going to come after you with an investment fraud. That didn't work. They're going to come after you and strike up a romantic relationship. That didn't work. They're going to keep trying. There are literally, and this is the worst part, there are entire floors of buildings with hundreds of people in booths. I've seen photographs of them, where each one has a booth and a computer, and he's literally going through the numbers. And as he goes through the numbers, he will attempt to swindle. He's got a computer in front of him. It's telling him what to say, how to say it, what numbers he's using. And they're using it's a different kind of what's called a war dialer, because time is of the essence. So what they're going to do, they phone you up, but they phone 5 numbers. And whoever answers first gets to talk to the agent. The other 4, they just hang up. You ever had a phone call where the phone rings, you pick it up, there's nobody there, and it hangs up? It's open line. Welcome to my world. That's a war dialer. And what's going to happen, let's say we find out about it. So we report it. And the police go after them. And the police set up with one of the authorities from one of these other countries, won't say which one, but the authorities go and they raid the place and they arrest 100 operators and they seize all 100 computers. Well, the charge for talking on the phone doesn't really stick. So it doesn't take much to bail them out. Remember, these guys are getting about $2,000 a day on average. So they've arrested all 100. They had to let them go. Whoever's running the scam goes out, buys another 100 computers. They're $300 a piece. So he gets these computers, sets up on another floor, rehires the same 100 people, because they're pretty good. They've had a lot of experience. They're operational again by Saturday. The best defense against being swindled by text, by mail, by the phone, by anything, is sitting before me right now. That is your best defense. You be suspicious. You ask lots of questions. You slow them down. Don't let them isolate you. And if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And if in doubt, talk to your friends. Talk to the police, talk to your bank, talk to anybody. They'll help. Okay?